How's it going? I'm Ryan, and today I did not take any trades on NQ. We have the market at all-time highs. We had some funky price action in the morning. Didn't really see anything, no setups I liked, and sometimes not taking any trades can be a bit of an advantage, right? You don't want to get into a trade just thinking that you have to trade every day and take a loss when a setup that you are looking for wasn't there. So let's get into it. I'm going to break down kind of from a higher time frame what I was watching, where we are in the market, and then I'm going to go into lower time frame, like 5 minute, 2 minute. Mostly we'll be looking at that 5 minute chart, as that's primarily what I focus on. But let's take a look, and I'll just go over what I was watching and why I didn't take any trades, and just kind of why things looked a little off for me today. All right, let's hop into it. So we're on the 4 hour chart here. You know what? I'm actually going to back it up to a daily chart so we get a better view. We have all-time highs. Previous all-time high. We set a new all-time high recently back last month, and then we have broken above that. So we are in kind of uncharted territory. We are in all-time highs at this point on NQ futures. So let's take a look at the 4 hour, because I chart all my levels off of the 4 hour. So what do I have? I have the previous all-time high. This was broken in the after hours after yesterday's session. So this was, kind of overnight, we broke above that all-time high. But I wanted to mark the previous all-time high in case we wanted to come back and the market to retest that level and see, see if we get a retest and continuation or not. We didn't quite get that, not during the session at least. We have yesterday's high and low designated by these green and red levels. And then we have some levels from, the last time that we were up in this price area, quite a ways down. These didn't come into play, so I'm not really going to even go over it. Actually, in fact, none of these levels came into play. So you can pretty much just disregard what I was just saying about that. All you need to know is we're at all-time highs, and there's nothing really to draw levels off of up here unless we're using like pre-market levels. And the pre-market high definitely came into play today. We'll take a look at that. So I didn't have it marked, but this right here is the pre-market high. And I'm going to mark it right now just so we can take a look at it and see how it kind of played out, right? I'm going to make this yellow so that we can have a clear identification that that is the pre-market high. So that's pre-market high, right? And that's coincidentally all-time high at this point. The market opens. We see some dumping happening. We see that selling happening before the market opens, and it continues into market open. We quickly reversed, right? And we start to make our move back up. I'm going to zoom out so we can see this on this lower time frame here. Initially today, I was thinking that we might have some short opportunities because in the pre-market and the market open, we're looking weak, right? We're selling off. We have widespread down candles with long wicks to the upside and not a lot of strength. Then we have this bounce, and this bounce happens pretty rapidly, right? And what I'm looking at is on this bounce on the 2 minute, we have on the 5 minute volumes declining. And if we look at the 2 minute, we have kind of weak candles, right? These are narrow spread. They have a decent wick to the upside, showing that there is some selling kind of preventing from these candles from moving up entirely, right? And they're on low volume as well. So if you're looking for a move up, that's not necessarily what you want to see. So I was looking for a potential, maybe short opportunity, but things just happened pretty quick today, right? We didn't really have much warning or indication, typically what I would look for. And I'll show you an example of one trade that happened later in the day that I think is probably the best setup that happened all day, but it was not when I was at the charts. But yeah, kind of a weak push up. You see we sell back down, right? Then we have this massive hammer here where we kind of come down and hold that 200 EMA on the 2 minute. So, looking weak, get a strong bounce, sell off, close that candle strong on like a hammer. We go up and we test that pre-market high and that all-time high level. You see we get a super long upper wick here and a narrow spread candle. And then immediately after, we get a pretty strong rejection. You see that here in the 2 minute, right? We get that high volume on this candle that tests that level. And then we get, increasing volume as we reject down. Same thing. We start to reject and there's no follow through. It immediately bounces right back up to test that level again. And so what I was seeing, what kept me out of trades today, was there's a lot of conflicting information in the market. What I want to see is I want to see price action. I want to see volume. I want to see multiple time frames. I want to see a lot of things aligning to give me a clear picture. And we didn't have that today. So let's just take a look at a few candles here that describes this pretty perfectly. We have pretty high volume as we come up to test this all-time high and this pre-market high level, right? Then we reject off it pretty hard, looking, that's not what you want to see if you want to see us clear and be strong above that level. Immediately after, we start to sell off. Now it looks like we're going to get a rejection off of this area, and that makes sense, right? It's pre-market high, it's all-time high, it's an area where people are going to be taking profits. But as we start to get that rejection, just as fast we get a reversal and we close strong. So we have a weak candle, a fairly strong hammer with an insane lower wick. Then we test that level again and close weak with like a shooting star, which is a classic reversal candle. Then we close another strong candle and then break above and set new all-time highs on a high volume, strong, bullish candle. So just like flip-flopping in terms of weakness and strength from candle to candle, and really just missing any sort of like consistency or clear picture into what the market wanted. So that kind of kept me out. From there, we set new all-time highs. We kind of chop around. These dojis show some indecision, right? Those don't really tell us a whole lot. It just tells us that, the market went up, the market went down, and kind of closed right where it started. So like nobody really won in that session, right? Sellers nor buyers really affected the price too much. It kind of is just indecision essentially at this point. And then from here, we're kind of bouncing around, and I got off around this point in the day just because I wasn't seeing what I wanted. But there was an opportunity that I want to highlight, and I think it was, there's a few, right? So now that I mentioned earlier in the video that we didn't have any levels at this point. What we did have was that pre-market high and that previous all-time high level, right? And we see that once we get that break above it, that we get a few bounces off of it. And these are the opportunities that I would normally look for, right? We come down and hold this level and bounce. We come down, hold it on a hammer and bounce. But this is the one that excites me, and this is the trade that I think is the most ideal setup, I would say, in terms of what I'm looking for. And the reason why is, I've mentioned it in my previous videos. If you watched them, we get a pivot low, right? And that's when you have a 3-candle setup, 3 consecutive candles. The candles, 1 and 3, position 1 and 3, we have 1, 2, and 3. The candles positioned on the outside, so the first and the third candles in the sequence, have a higher high and a higher low. The candle in the middle has a lower low, lower high. It's at a level of significance, right? That pre-market high. It prints a hammer candle. We have high volume, really high volume as we come down and retest this area. And then we see all that on the 5-minute. And if we take a look at the 2-minute, let's see, it's over here. What do we see, right? We come down and kind of hold that 200 EMA and then start to bounce, as well as holding that pre-market high as well. So we get the candle pattern here, we get that pivot low, we get associated volume looking pretty good. The 2-minute, we're kind of holding those EMAs. If we look at the 15-minute, look at what we print on the 15-minute, right? We print a beautiful hammer candle on the 15-minute right there. So that is a dream entry. I would enter on this candle right here. And the low volume kind of would concern me, but the very next candle being on higher volume and being very bullish, that's beautiful. That's what you want to see. And you see that we get, if you enter around the finish of this candle, say 460 or so, we move 34 points or so off that entry. So that's easy. Get your 30 points of profit or so, 20, 30 points, whatever your target is. We'd never really come back to test this level again. You'd have a little drawdown here, but then it's just right back up to new all-time highs, and you see that we really make a strong push out of that area into the end of the day. So that's beautiful. That's what I'd want to see, because why? We have a clear vision from the 15-minute to the 5-minute to the 2-minute, right? Everything is aligning. It's aligning at a level of interest, that pre-market high. We have a candlestick pattern, the pivot low. We got a hammer candle at support. Associated volume is supporting the idea that we're going to get some buyers stepping into there. So that is the one setup that was beautiful today. And I wish that happened earlier in the day, right? Because I would have been all over that, or at least I'd like to think I would. But looking after the fact, that was the trade to take today, from my perspective. But like I said, I sat on my hands today. I didn't take a trade. Today was day 1 of my Apex Challenge account. I'm logged in on my demo right now just to go over these charts because it was easier for me. But I started a new Apex Challenge account today. It's a fresh 50K account, and I'm proud of myself for not taking just any trade just to, start the account off and try to make money and try to get funded. It's easy to do that. It's hard to sit on your hands and just watch and not participate. But I was proud to do that today and keep my money safe because I didn't see the setup that I liked. But that's all I got for you. I appreciate you watching very much. I trade live Monday through Friday. If you want to stop by and say what's up, I'll be live on this account every morning trading the futures. Would love to have you, and I appreciate you stopping by and watching. It means a lot. Thank you. Peace.